The Max 8 is, a plane that saves on average 14% fuel. Incredibly important at this difficult time when fuel costs are going up. It saves us about 30% on engineering cost. It's great for the consumers because it has several features that the old Max did not have. It can fly longer distances, so it gives to an airline the ability to fly to new destinations which were out of reach of the old plane. Besides the new destinations, there are these premium economy seats that we put in this aircraft, and there are 36 of them.
What are the other plans for other international routes, given that 205 of these will arrive? Many people have been wondering, when do you begin flying Europe? And to see a red in the sky is always a good sight.
With these new planes, we've added Bangkok from several destinations, several airports. We fly to 7 countries at this time. We will increase that over time. I don't want to take away from the announcements as they finally get made, but of course we will look at all these destinations within a 6-hour radius of India as potential destinations.
I think we're talking ahead of the festive season, but we're also talking at a time when Indian aviation seems to be hitting a pocket of turbulence, and the latest one of that is the hike in ATF duties. How is this going to impact profits? How is this going to impact operations? And just ahead of festive season, is it perhaps an intelligent guess to make that fares are likely to go up?
Of course, there's tremendous pressure because of the increase in oil prices, the depreciation of the rupee, given that so many of our costs are dollar denominated. So we need to do a few things. Firstly, on the airline side, of course, we will introduce new technology of this sort of MAX planes, which will help us reduce our cost over time as the planes become a larger and larger proportion of our fleet. In addition to that, I think all airlines need to be responsible and try and raise fares. Like you correctly said, the festive season is coming up. This is a good time to try and raise fares. And my bet would be that airlines would certainly raise fares because everybody is hurting at this point of time.
And
fares going up and cost.
Be?
I would think the fares will go up at least 15%. It's really important for the health and viability of this industry.
But does a 15% hike in fare impact passenger traffic?
Look, today average fare between Delhi and Mumbai, for example, is 3,700 rupees, right? 15% increase would probably take it to 4,200 rupees. I really doubt that with that kind of an increase, the traffic is going to be impacted. Beyond what airlines themselves are doing, I think it's important for governments also to ensure that the sector remains viable. What we are saying is that, look, bring us on par as an industry with our peers around the world. Around the world, there is no tax on aviation turbine fuel. Where there is a tax, aviation turbine fuel is always part of a central taxation regime like the
and here
GST.
You are not. Yes.
And therefore, the net effective rate of tax is 0. So we need that to happen.
Why is it not happening? Because when you talk about petrol and diesel, people want to put it under the GST. This was a proposal, it didn't go before the cabinet. So why do you believe this is not happening?
I think that the proposal which was to be put up before the council, our understanding of that proposal was that it was revenue neutral to the government because it called for an increase in output tax, and perhaps that increase in output tax is what bothered policy makers. So we see, but ultimately this is a question of just creating more transparency in the system to say that whatever is the input tax is transparently passed on. And I think it's extremely important for the aviation sector that this structural reform needs to happen. In addition to that, the state governments as well, many of whom had taken up VAT as oil prices fell, need to bring VAT down again.
But Mr. Singh, I think talking about pure operations, from a passenger load factor point of view, you've done remarkably well. You've been one of the best performers there. But from a market share point of view, you still lag some of the big guys, whether it's Air India or whether it's Jet or Indigo. How concerning a factor is that, and how do you plan to bridge this sort of a divide between passenger load factor on one share and market share?
Well, as you said correctly, we have had a very high load factor. For 40 months, we've flown excess of 92%. In addition to that, we've had 14 straight profitable quarters. And our focus has really been on trying to retain our margins, on trying to remain profitable. We believe that as our aircraft come in, our market share will go up in any case. Our focus is not really on market share. SpiceJet has taken a conscious call that we will focus on margins. We will focus on trying to retain a healthy business and not run after market share.
So you made a very conscious choice that you're going to concentrate on PLF instead of market share. Fair point. I wanted to ask a quick question on the rupee when we were talking about that. Given the fact that the rupee is kind of sliding and now the IMF has raised these red flags that emerging market currencies could be in a bit of a rout, how do you plan to rein in those forex losses? I mean, what sort of hedging strategy will you have in place?
Well, we are looking to see what all we can do. I think one obvious thing that we need to do is to increase our dollar revenue. As we fly with this new plane, we can fly longer distances, we fly more international. Dollar revenue, we hope, can increase. We are looking at various forms of hedges. We are looking to see if certain products, on the ancillary side, such as our cargo services, etc., can be dollar denominated. So we will look to see what best the airline can do, and we do hope that the government will also step in to support the rupee.
But there are these are these speculative reports, and I think as a journalist, it's only fair that I get you to give me a decisive sort of a comment on that. Talks of an alliance with foreign carriers, getting strategic or financial players on board. Anything in the pipeline that
nothing in the pipeline at this time.
Nothing
in there, because when people look at the Indian market and they see that it's the fastest growing market in the world, and some airlines have been doing well in the recent past. So there are always offers and suggestions and speculation, but there's nothing specific in the pipeline.
I think the flyers at large in the industry is not cherishing, and that's Jet Airways. I know it's your competitor, and I know you may not want to directly comment, but Q2 losses, many people expect those to be in the range of 9,000 to 10,000 crore rupees, salaries not being paid. How do you view the situation there? Is this another Kingfisher in the making? Is it safe to fly jet at all?
Mr. Naresh Goyal, the promoter of Jet Airways, is a very experienced and smart business person. And many times in the past, people have counted Jet Airways and him out. So I think that you should be careful about counting him out. He has shown time and time again that in sticky situations he can get his company out of trouble. So let's all hope for the best, and let's hope that we don't have a casualty in the Indian aviation space. In general, of course, as you know, that the aviation sector is facing terrific headwinds here, and we need to find structural solutions for them, both within the airlines and outside the airlines.
Mr. Singh, I know a lot of people will call this an audacious question, but I think it's only fair that I ask you, because this is a question on people's minds. They may not voice it. Will you be open to acquiring Jet or its loyalty program? Its market cap has crashed by over 70% in the last 6 months. Is this a candidate that you could perhaps look at?
Look, SpiceJet has a massive expansion plan of its own. We are getting 205 of these planes. In addition, we've started a freighter business to get into the cargo and logistics business, and that will have an expansion plan of its own. I think we have enough on our plate, battling the external environment, making sure that SpiceJet remains healthy in the years to come. So I think our focus needs to remain really on SpiceJet.